Why, hello. Welcome back to No Brush Required. It's Tuesday. Fourth. My name's Tamara Grand, and Barbara Reed is about to join me. Hello. How are you?
Hello, hello.
How's it going
I'm
today?
doing good. Hmm?
Good. Good. You look like you're cold. You guys have snow there?
We don't have snow, but it's rainy and it's just kind of yucko. And I thought I want to be cozy, so I'm on the sofa today
I
with
know. I
cushion.
see the different background. You have a nice
Yes,
background behind you. Colorful walls. Good morning, Douglas. Hi, Rena.
the gang's all here.
They are. It's very nicely composed too. Your wall behind you is a little bit off center. You got the yellow and
The light switch.
oh yeah,
I know. I try. It's not easy to move to different places to do this, but I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna finagle it.
I know. I
How are
know.
you
It's
doing
like
today?
I am good. I feel like we're leaving on Sunday on our trip, and I feel like I have like a bajillion little tiny things to tick off on a to-do list. Um, I don't like little things. I know they don't take very long, but the list feels long. So,
Yeah, yeah. Have you started to pack?
oh, the way I pack is I have a list and I've sort of practiced packed and then
Oh,
seen what I need to get rid of. But I'm watching the weather right now because I'm going to Rome next week.
hmm.
And right now it's like the weather's just kind of on the cusp. It goes anywhere from 8 degrees Celsius to 20. So it's
Come
not
on.
really, I know it's not really shorts and sandals weather
No,
quite yet. And there could be
no,
rain. So, trying to pack for all of those possibilities. And you know me, I only carry on,
I
right?
know.
So, yeah.
I want to know how you're doing toilet articles.
Uh, didn't I show you
No.
before when we traveled? Oh, they're all small. Like I have all these little tiny, I'm showing it down here, these little tiny plastic or silicone tubes that I got that you can fill up with things. I don't take much. I let the shampoo, I use the shampoo wherever I am. I use
Yeah,
the soap or body wash wherever I am because it's only 2 weeks,
I know.
right?
Not the
So
end of the world, right?
there's only a few things that are absolute mandatories, like moisturizer,
Lip balm,
lip balm. You can buy
sunblock.
suns. You can buy sunscreen wherever. I'm not taking sunscreen with me. I'll buy it there if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you know,
Yeah, see, I mean, I'm all for the carry-on bag thing, but it's
you
it's
can
those
you
little
can get
extras.
by with a lot less than you think you need,
Yeah,
and even clothing wise, right? I mean, I'm not a fashionista. I like to be
come
comfortable,
on.
and yeah, and if you take things that are all kind of in the same color palette,
Mm-hmm, hmm.
then you're good to go. Everything's wash and dry in the sink, right? So I wear a lot of
Yeah,
tech fabric. It's wash and dry in the
that's
sink.
true.
So yeah.
Thank God for a
Anyways,
workout wear.
yeah, yeah, it's good. And I will come back and I will share this at some point. But my techno dude son has got me on the authentication, the two-factor authentication stuff for your apps, and he's got me using. I'm trying to get it set up a new third-party authenticator app. So not a
Mm.
Google one, not the one that comes on your phone, because if this all came about because we were looking at SIM cards, and so if you change the SIM card in your phone and you need two-factor authentication to get on Verbo, Booking, Expedia, it's going to go to
Mhm.
your other phone number, which is not the new number of your SIM card,
Oh, you're
right?
right.
It's a headache. It's a headache. So, anyways,
Gee.
the authenticator apps. Then he said to me the same thing. Great that you're using two-factor authentication, but if you're having the code sent to your phone, like an SMS code, he said,
Mhm.
and you lose your phone, you don't have a backup for your two-factor authentication. And
Oh,
so there's an app that there's an authenticator app he's got me working on, and I'll share when I figure it all out.
yeah.
But the beauty of it is you can share it across your devices. So if you're an iPhone person, it's on your computer as well and your iPad, and it can be backed up
Mm.
to the cloud. So you can retrieve it if you lose your phone.
All the things
They're
we do as workarounds to accommodate our phones, eh?
stupid. I
Because
know.
that's really what it's
It
about.
is.
No, like we never used to do this when, I was a kid and I was a teenager. Like, who cared? Nobody would do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, this is not
Enough
this
of
is
that.
not an Instagram live about tech, but I will
Mary's
share what I
trip.
learned because I always share when I learn these new things because there's always new things to learn. So today we should invite her right on. We have a guest.
No, she's
This is
sitting there
episode.
going, what are they talking
Sorry,
about?
but I think Megan Woodard Johnson would care about this as well. I think that she would care about keeping her accounts safe. This is all about keeping our accounts safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just invited her on. So our friend, no brush required friend, Megan Woodard Johnson.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi. Can you
How
hear
are
me
you?
okay? You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I forgot that I had deleted the app from my phone recently. And so then it needed to like ask me again whether it could use my camera and my microphone and stuff like that as I was hopping on.
Yes.
So,
More
but
phone
I want
stuff.
to talk more
More
about
phone stuff.
travel. I want to talk more about travel stuff and like all of that. First of all, I'm not a carry-on person.
Oh.
I believe in the power of checked bags. No.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to think, like when we went to Europe last summer and we didn't, so I'm wondering why you were getting a new SIM card. Is that so you can use local?
Yes, because so I don't know what it's like for you guys, but if I use my home data plan, they allow me to roam like home for $15 a day,
But I
which adds up.
gave you the workaround for that.
There is.
I gave you the workaround.
Yeah, there is. There is a
Okay.
workaround, but if you want to be able to use Google Maps because you're driving in the Tuscan countryside and you don't know where the hell you are,
then
you got to turn it on.
Okay, and so then you just go, like when you go to Rome, you'll get a new SIM card there? Or
well, there's actually, I know,
really
here
what
we
you
go.
guys want to be talking about?
We'll do a whole episode on this when I get back.
No, but
maybe I'll get my
I'm
son
curious
on
now.
here.
I want to know what
I
Megan
know,
did.
I'm just curious.
There are eSIM cards. There are eSIM cards you can get now on newer model iPhones. And so instead of a physical card, you can load, and the newest ones, you can load up to 8 different SIM cards. And so you can get one for the place you're going. It's all done ahead when you're at home. And then there's supposed to be a way you can just switch back and forth when you're on your phone. So if most of the time if every now and then you want to check in on your own phone because you're waiting to hear from your Verbo host and they're going to give you details on how to get into your apartment,
Right.
You can flip back to your own SIM card, right?
Oh, that's fascinating. Okay. We just got international plan for the month that we were gone for like a little over 3 weeks. And so we just bumped our plan up to international. And for 4 phones, it was expensive.
Yeah. My service provider doesn't have that option. They want to gouge you for every day that you use it.
Well, that's what our son just went on a spring break trip to Germany, and we did the daily, I think it was $10. But yeah, we sort of factor it into the cost of the trip kind of thing. But I don't know.
It's just,
seems like
it's good to be aware of because some days you don't need it. And then the other thing you really have to keep track of is for my provider, it flips over, the 24-hour clock on the day flips over at Eastern time. So if I'm somewhere else in the world, I have to pay attention to that because if you're a minute over, you're paying for the next day.
Yeah, you get the welcome to Roam Like Home from Rogers, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, no,
I don't. I'm not roaming.
I'm not roaming. It's not like home.
Funny.
It's not like, sometimes in Canada, when you get within 10 miles of the U.S. border, it'll ping U.S. cell towers and you'll get the message that you're roaming.
Oh,
and you're like, no, I'm not.
No, I
check my passport.
Exactly.
Still in Canada.
Oh, that's interesting.
Anyways.
Well, and it's what Barbara was saying about like how we never did this when we were kids.
No.
I think about that a lot. And then I think about like, so, I have a kid that, wants to drive to Chicago or whatever. And so, okay, if I had done that when I was growing up, it would be drive to Philly. I didn't have a cell phone. I only had paper maps, all that kind of stuff. But also there were payphones everywhere. Yeah. Like, so you had ways to get a hold of people if you needed assistance, or there was like roadside assistance, or just, now like people have a flat tire and people just drive past them because they assume they've called for help.
Right.
Whereas when if we had been on the side of the road with a flat tire, like somebody would have pulled over and offered to help, then we may have been kidnapped or whatever, but
well,
at least
right?
Somebody would have stopped.
Stranger danger.
But it's so interesting now, like how even if you think like, I'm going to just go old school, you're actually cut off of a lot of services
Yeah.
because they require apps or they require your
Yeah.
phones or
I mean,
whatever. So
well, that's what we found for
The
booking. So
airport,
for,
getting through the airport, you have
yeah,
to have your
oh
phone.
my gosh.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but booking tickets to like the Coliseum and the Vatican, they're all delivered as e-tickets,
Yes.
and they do not want to scan a paper ticket at the, they're all
Mhm.
set up to scan your e-ticket when you walk through. So you're like,
Yeah.
okay,
I guess I'm doing it.
I guess
yeah,
so.
exactly.
Mm.
Oh, it's
Anyways,
interesting. Yeah.
we don't need to talk about this anymore because
No.
people didn't come here to talk about
No, they didn't. Oh, what the
technology
heck?
problems. They came
Maybe
here,
they want to know more about this.
but we advertised it as a chat with
That's
Megan.
true.
So we, you know, we kind of did market it as an art chat.
An art chat? Okay. Sounds good. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
So, okay, so I want to start, but this is technology too. But I want to start with what you just led with, which was you had logged out of the app or took the app off your phone. Do you want to talk about that and the start to your year? And
Oh yeah, I keep, like, to be completely honest, I just am really, I have this awful relationship with Instagram. Like, I think, and it's what the part that is really hard for me, and I don't know if this is just an attention issue or if it's like larger life issues or whatever, but I get super sucked into just the mindless scroll.
Mhm.
And so, I'll admit it. I have like a muscle right here in my thumb that hurts, and I know it's from the scrolling. Or like I'll let an hour go by, and I'm not even exaggerating, and all of a sudden think, what the heck were all these stupid things I just watched? Like, they weren't even valuable. Sometimes they're really funny, and the algorithm, like the other morning, I was like laughing for 20 minutes straight because it was like one cute animal after like somebody, like humorous things. But then sometimes you get to where you're just like, why am I letting this stuff go in? And so then I'll take the app off, and then I'll, I don't know, 45 minutes later, I put it back on. So my like fasting ability is really poor. But then also last week I thought, okay, I'm going to clean house because I think we all noticed that with the algorithm changes and all that kind of stuff, like you're not seeing everybody that you wish you would see. And that made me think, okay, I technically follow 3,000 people. There's no way I'm seeing 3,000 like updated accounts. So maybe I just need to go and clean out and be like much more deliberate about who I'm following. And I've been on the app for what, like 5-6 years. So there's probably accounts I followed 5 years ago that I'm not actually interested anymore. So I started unfollowing people. I spent like 2 hours doing it while we were watching a movie. And then I got locked out of my account because I thought I was
abnormal behavior.
I've heard of people saying like, don't unfollow, don't do too much. But yeah, they thought I was a bot. So
what did you do to get back in? How did you get back in out of Instagram jail?
Yeah, well, so I looked online. That's a good way to put it, and saw that like the first recommendation was just like, take the app off your phone and chill for like, just don't do anything for like away from the app. And so I did that for like 36 hours or something, and it actually ended up coming back. But prior to reading that little advice, I had uninstalled it, reinstalled it, and I was action blocked. So I could keep watching. I could keep going on the scroll, but I couldn't engage. So I was like, well, this is definitely the opposite of what we are all trying to, keep using this for as a way to engage. So anyway, I've had all these, I feel like they're little external signs that are like, ditch the app, let it go. And I don't know, like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't have a great relationship with it. I'm not using it. Like, I'm not loving it when I use it because I'm using it sort of brainlessly too much. And then I'm sort of burnt out by the time there's actually something fun to do on it. So this is nice.
It's so interesting though, because, in some respects, and I will confess I'm the same as you. Like I pick up my phone and I just automatically open the app. Like
like your thumb knows right where it is.
But we are proof that what they're doing is working, because it's just like, I always think about these things as the same as I think about fast food and the fast food industry, in the 80s and 90s, and the chemists came up with great ways to hook you. So those are, those are chemical addictions. But
Yeah.
these are physiological addictions. They are, you know, we're getting little hits of adrenaline and dopamine and, you know, serotonin on all the good things in our brain every time
Yes.
we see something we like, or, you know, we get a heart
Yeah.
or whatever. And that's what keeps us here, even though, you know, our common sense and our better self
Yeah,
can analyze
exactly.
it, you know?
Yeah. And so I don't spend a lot of time, I know I'd say like I'm not, I really truly don't spend a lot of time like beating myself up over my behaviors, because I think that exact same thing. Like millions of dollars were spent paying incredibly brilliant people to create this, to do exactly what it's doing. So all I am is proof that they were right. Like that they,
Yeah,
you know,
it
that
works.
it was whatever, an investment well made by Meta. And the same with like, you know, eating the bag of Doritos. Like, okay, food scientists, you got it.
Yeah.
you nailed the recipe. So I try not to like make it all about like me and my failings, but I am noticing more and more that I don't want to do this. Like I don't want this to be taking up so much of my life. But I have like a long history in other parts of my world where doing what like real restriction, restriction will lead to binging for me, like in a number of different behaviors and for my whole life. So I'm like, well, what do I do? So yeah, I take it off, but it's just so easy to put it back on. I do that thing where you like hide it in a folder on your screen, so and it doesn't matter. You know?
Yeah.
Do you
They
think
really got
about it?
their hooks in me.
Yeah. Do you think about it when you remove the app? Like when you remove the app, are you kind of feeling a little free floating, like in a scary way?
Yeah, a little
like untethered.
edgy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. And partly that's because like for so long it was such a great place for these connections.
Yes.
And it feels also like pretty recently that is a lot of that has slid downhill. Like it's been a pretty rapid descent into all you see are ads or suggested posts, or you get hooked into reels and stuff like that. And so it feels like we haven't really had time to get used to the fact that this isn't actually being the place that it was for us for the number of years that we were enjoying it so much, or utilizing it to connect with, you know, artists, collectors, all that kind of stuff. And now that's the big thing, is I feel like I want to sort of figure out how to still use it but not care about it so much or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
It's a tough one because there aren't alternatives. And I mean, I always, when I'm feeling badly about having spent too much time on my screen, and you know what? It's usually my teenage kid that points it out to me too. So I feel shame.
Oh my God, my kids think I'm such a dork for being on Instagram.
Yeah. You know, but I try to remember what are the things I like about it, and then just try to tap into those and use it for those reasons. But you know, let's face it, we are also here as part of an artist community to market ourselves and market our artwork, and you know, connect with collectors and you know, wherever else we decide to go with our art. So if that's not happening, is there another place online that can happen? I mean, Facebook's kind of dead for me. It has been for a long time.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be honest too, if I really look back at, say, like the last 2-3 years, where I would say that I put a lot of energy into trying to learn how to comfortably market my work to hope to build that story and build those connections and ultimately lead to sales via Instagram, it has not worked for me at all. I have very few, I maybe could count on like one hand the number of sales of my work that have really truly come through the work I've done on Instagram, where I was putting like a concerted effort into a certain type of sharing or something like that. And so now I think, oh, well then why have I, like, maybe I do just go back, like maybe I just want it to be a place where I play, and once in a while I hop on and I say, look what I made, and not worry about exactly how I'm pacing it, or, you know, like all of that kind of stuff. And try something different. But I don't know, you guys.
Well, if we were a company, we would be measuring return on investment, right? And so clearly we're not using it as if we were companies.
No.
Yeah, no, or but I feel like I haven't had great success, and I watched other people who do seem to have great success, and that's awesome.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, it has not been a great tool for me for generating sales. Like, but maybe for like 5 year long relationships, and that's
Mhm.
cool. Those people
Yeah.
are still going to be here. They're probably getting my newsletter. They're connecting, and they'll be there, but not generating a lot of new stuff. So maybe
Is
it's
that kind of across
just
the
gonna.
board for social media for you, Megan? Or like, do you find, I don't know what else you're on. I don't know if you do, like, do artists do Twitter?
I, I don't. Oh man, you guys, because I got on
I hate
Twitter
it.
when like
No.
during the Trump
Back in
Oh,
the
election, and
day.
then
oh,
after about an hour, I was
Yeah.
like, never mind, never
I
mind.
know. It's awful, eh? My God, it was awful.
Yeah, and when at the beginning of the pandemic, when Clubhouse, that audio sort of chat room, I loved that in its early days, and then it like grew really big and fast, and I didn't enjoy it as much anymore. Like I just know that I'm a person that likes like real, like decent conversations with a smaller group of people. And so
Mhm.
maybe that is something too, where I feel like if I'm really crafting a post, I feel like I'm just sort of putting something out to the thousands, and I'd rather just say hi to a couple of friends. And
Well,
so,
Mm.
so doesn't Instagram have what's the newest feature? So is it called Channel? There's a couple of different things that
mm,
I know there's a business feature where you can actually make a subscription
yes, yeah.
and
What is
that,
that? I get those. So and so is now. You can like
yeah.
get their subscription. What is that?
So
Did you pay them?
basically, you're creating a subset of your account that
Mhm.
you're putting a paywall in front of. And so now, so say if you, and I know a couple of artists who have
Mhm.
been giving away things very freely for a long time, which
Mhm.
personally I'm a big advocate for
Like
on social media
information,
platforms.
right? Like
Yeah,
sharing.
giving
Yeah.
things freely away, sharing widely and wildly, because
Mhm.
that's how I've learned. And I know a couple of people who have gotten tired of doing that because they felt like they were giving a lot away for free. And
Mhm.
for them, they decided that they wanted to be making some more money off of the things that they were doing. So they put
Sure.
up a subscription. They create a subscription and they charge something low. It's kind of like Patreon. They charge
Yeah.
something, $5, $7 a month,
Mhm.
and you can subscribe, and then you'll get behind their paywall. And so they'll still share publicly certain things, but other
Mhm.
things will only be behind that paywall, and you can
Yeah.
go on a monthly basis to try it out. So, I have no problem if that's part of your
Mhm.
marketing. Right?
Yep. And the
I
same
feel
with
like it'd be so much,
Patreon.
yeah.
Yes.
I just feel
Yeah.
like it'd be so much pressure because now,
Oh,
Yes.
if
people
people are
really,
going to
yeah.
pay $5 a month to listen to me, I better damn well have
Yeah.
something good
But
to
Oh my
say.
God.
$5.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, we could just have a coffee together, and I charge you $5, and like think about that. five
yeah,
dollars. You can't. Actually, I cannot get a coffee for $5.
it's
So
true. Not
what is
anymore.
the
A
value?
decent one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, the sort of the thought behind Patreon sort of, levels and stuff like that. And there are a couple of artists that I know that I have been
Yeah.
patrons of for like a year or so at a time, and the way that they disseminate what they
Mhm.
share and stuff like that has been really smart and really cool. But me too, like the second I think of starting to do it, it's like this performance pressure where I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no.
Right.
I know I'll get to the end of the month and be like, oh, I forgot to give you that thing I was
Yeah.
supposed to give you.
And you can't just try it out for a month and
Right.
bail. Like
No.
it feels like
Sorry.
you gotta build
Yeah.
on it, and you can't just
Mhm.
decide, sorry, I hate this. See you guys
Right.
later.
But
Yeah,
what if
exactly.
nobody
Anyway,
subscribes?
I
Yeah.
know.
How
Right.
crushing would that be?
Yeah.
Nobody subscribed.
Seriously. Yeah.
I think I
Mhm.
think you would get subscribers the first month, but I think you would have to work to retain them.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Not happening.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah.
I heard the
So,
word work. Not happening.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But so that's the social, like, yeah. So, and Facebook, I hardly ever use.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff though, I use there's a let's see, a friend of mine and I kind of run an art. I know she has a beautiful farm here in Wisconsin, and she for like 12 years has hosted art shows
Mhm.
there. And about 3 years ago, I joined up with her to help run all of those events. So there's 2 art shows, and there's a weekend of art workshops that we do every year, and maybe potentially more things. And so promoting those on Instagram and social, and actually there's a bigger base for that on Facebook. And I think it's because we're like appealing to local people to come to this local thing. Whereas the Instagram, like we have one, but we're not super worried about growing that. It just feels like another place to put the same information. So that's interesting because it's almost a flip that Facebook, but even there, like we're noticing, like we can't rely on Facebook the way that we have. We have to go back to like flyers and posters and putting it in like community calendars and stuff like that. Yeah. Old school. Yeah. But, and so sometimes I wonder if maybe I'm kind of like on my own Instagram stuff because I spend a fair amount of time like strategizing it for this other entity, which might be and I think I'm just in a phase where I want to be a little quieter and like kind of hermiting a little bit, just sort of let me just be here working. But I can go too far into that and then like lose touch with people. So
well, and that's how you started the year, right? You kind of signed off for January and said we'll see you in a month, and then and so where are you with that now? Are you coming back out? Are you
You know what? I'll be like totally. I'm a very like whatever. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I'm not doing awesome to be totally truthful. Like this feeling of overwhelm started probably the end of last year, like maybe October, November. And that's when my last mastermind ended. And I had decided I had run those for like 4 years, and I decided that was gonna be my last one for a while because I could feel the edges of burnout. And then to be totally honest, I have like rested and retreated quite a bit in the first 3 months of this year, but I haven't been great about like actively creating new habits that build like that, pull whatever, like guard me against that overwhelm. Right. So I think I'm a slow changer. And so I think I'm in the early edges of a shift. And I was telling Tamara, like, I don't know what that looks like right now. I'm just sort of in the middle of this, like, well, okay, like today was a busy, an active day, and today was a nap on the couch day. Like, I'm not quite sure where I'm at. And a little bit of that, like it bleeds into the studio where I think like, oh, and I like haven't sold anything this quarter, like all the sort of markers that we think are the markers of success. I've had to remind myself to use different markers than just sales. It's not great for the family budget, so that's a little unnerving if that's the truth of it. But I am taking sort of a leap of faith and doing a pretty big show in Chicago at the end of the month, and it was a big investment. Like the booth fee was pretty high, and I've never done it before, so I'm really hoping it pans out. And I'm making tons of work for that. So I have been making a ton of work, but I haven't been posting it really or sharing it because I need it for the booth. Like it's not going to go up in my web shop. I'm not, so it sometimes I think like, I'm not really doing anything. What have I made? And then I go back through storage and I'm like, oh, actually I have made like 25 paintings. So we're doing okay.
What's the name of the show?
It's called the One of a Kind show.
Okay. We just had one in Toronto.
You guys have a One of a Kind?
Yeah, we have one of a kind.
Okay, cool. So it's One of a Kind show. This is the Chicago one. It's this big, beautiful building. And it looks to me, they have a winter one and a spring one in Chicago. And I went to the winter one. Okay. And it's a lot, like it seems like it's spans all sorts of like high quality, handmade art and craft. And so there's leather work and there's jewelry and there's all that kind of stuff, and then there's also, I think, probably lots of things that artists sell wholesale to shops and things like that. So they'll like, I know I used to work at a little gallery, and the gallery owner would go and place wholesale orders for jewelry and stuff like that. And then they have 2D fine art, and so the question, I'm curious to see if the people that come shopping
Mhm.
are there for like, you know, the sort of jewelry category of things, or the home decor painting category of things. But regardless, I think it's going to be a population of people that appreciate, you know, handmade, artisan made kind of goods. So that'll be cool.
So
Yeah.
how do they do it? It's indoors and they set the booth up and you just arrive, you stage it yourself?
Well,
and it's
you set the booth up, don't you?
Well, we set our product
Yeah.
up, but the walls
You
are
have to.
there. So, because my previous art fair experience has always been like high-end juried art shows, but where the artist brings the booth, like the tent and all that stuff. So I'm so excited about this because it's like we get a 10 by 10 booth, but it's hard walls that are set up and lit. And it's even like a union building. So like somebody will meet me at my car and like take all the stuff up to my booth, so I don't have to like drag stuff.
Excellent.
I'm very excited about that. I'm so used to schlepping stuff.
Yeah.
And it's indoors and like outdoor shows, you don't know what kind of weather you're gonna have, all that stuff. So I'm very excited, and I've had fun. Like I'm old school. I'll do like a piece of graph paper to figure out like how am I gonna hang my work and stuff. And so I'm very excited for it. But I think because it's at the end of April, it has meant that this whole month I've been making stuff, but I like make it and then get it out of my way, get out of my way. And because I haven't been promoting or selling or dropping or launching or anything like that, I start thinking, I haven't really done much, but I've actually done quite a bit.
Right.
So,
right.
Well, you've got
so
a goal.
Excited for you.
You've got a tangible goal. I think from what I understand about the One of a Kind show and the artists who've done it in Toronto, that they're long days, take snaps.
Yep.
And and you know, maybe if someone can help you out or at least give you a break so you can relieve yourself, you know, go get something to eat and walk around, right?
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
I mean, it could be tremendous for you, right?
I'm very excited, and I'm excited. I love showing in Chicago. It's only 2 hours from me, and it's it's always been like an audience that has responded well to my work. And so I'm hoping to make some good connections there too. So
how big are the pieces? What are your biggest pieces?
My biggest pieces in the booth are 36 inches by 48. I've got like 2 or 3 of those, and then some 30 inches by 40 inches. That's a size I love to work. And then it's neat because at this show they have like a whole section that they've set up as a fine art gallery. So it's it's like hard walls, but they're not the 10 by 10 foot booths. They're just it's sort of more of an organic gallery space, and you can submit to have a piece hung there. So I'm going to submit an even bigger piece to hang in that space. So we'll see.
So that would sort of welcome people to the art fair. People will see that.
That's what I'm hoping. Yeah, and the
biggest
I can fit in my vehicle is like 60 inches by 48 inches.
What the heck?
So
do you drive?
I can. It's big, right? I mean, the 48 across, I really have to be like, like sort of shove it in there.
Yeah.
But it's a SUV we got specifically so that I could drive bigger art places. So
it's important.
Do you know anybody else who's showing? Do you have any friends that will be showing?
Not any friends that I've like coordinated with, but when I went to see the show in December, I met some artists there, and I think they'll be returning. So there's some familiar faces. And then the other art fair, Chicago, is the same weekend, which I don't know if that's there. A part of me saw that, and it was they did all their jurying way after I was in and had made the payment for this one. So part of me is like, damn it, like I love the other art show, art fair, but can't be in 2 places at once. So
it's our friend
experiment.
Yes,
right?
Erica's going to be there. I need to reach out to her because that means we'll be in Chicago at the same time.
Yeah,
There's different shows.
I thought she did it last year, right?
Yes. Yep. Sorry, Barbara. What did you say?
No, I was just saying it's an experiment, right? So you're just trying something different, right?
Yeah.
So you never know.
Absolutely.
It could be great.
Yep. And I talked with my other friends that we'd planned, like I think, well, worst case scenario, scenario, nothing sells. I'm sure that won't be the case. But then I've got a big arsenal of work that I can like send to my galleries or have an open studio or do, do something different with. And so that'll be good. But I'm excited. I'm doing one whole wall with 12 by 12. So there's going to be like 24 12 by 12s in a grid. And I feel like that'll be a fun impact when you walk in.
I was going to say, having smaller stuff too.
Yes. Yeah, plenty to replace. So I can
have to have something to replace because if that all makes an impact, you don't want gaps in it. I guess you can move. Can you move things once they're already hung very easily? Can you reduce the size of your grid?
I think so. Or
I'm just throwing
rearrange them.
So much positive. This is all positive manifestation.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. Those 12 by 12s, like you guys know, because you work that size too. It's so fun when you see a lot of them. Yes. They really are impressive. And I'm also going to try for the first time fine art prints. And so I've got 4 pieces that I just went to the photographer and printer yesterday to check the proofs. And he did such a good job of capturing the images with all the texture and all this stuff. And then I'm just starting with 3 prints each of 4 different pieces. So 12 prints that are 18 by 24. And I'm going to hand embellish them. So they will still be very unique, but they'll be prints. They'll be in a flip bin. So I'm trying to sort of hit that, like, the print audience. I don't know. So,
well, being a person who's shopped at the One of a Kind show millions of times, and it sounds like it's the same sort of thing.
It does.
Things that people can carry away. Like lots of, I think it's great you're doing the 12 by 12s because they're going to have, like a bag of, maybe they found like a cute cardigan and a scarf and this, and then they want to be able to buy a piece of art and not say, I'll come back later. Sort of carry off.
Yeah. It's a huge show. And I remember that from doing other shows too. Like people, they really mean it when they say like, I love your work. I'm going to come back later. But by the end of the show, you like forget where people were, you are tired. So there's a couple of tricks and these are fun to share with people. Like I'm going to have a postcard sized business card that also has my booth number on the back. And even if I can do like a small map of like, hey, this is where you found me. And then I did another art fair with somebody once who had this very limited, he would give what he called a be-back discount, and he would give them a little card with a little be-back sort of stamped on
that's
it.
nice.
And if he and he wouldn't give it to everybody that said they would come back. He would really just sort of think like, hey, we had a lot of good conversations. I know you really love my work. Like, I really want you to come back, and I'd be happy to give you a discount if you make it back to the booth. So there's a couple things like that to try and hope that people will really circle back, because those shows are exhausting as a shopper.
They are
like totally overstimulated.
Yeah, they're huge. And if you take public transportation to get there, you can only carry so much, right? So
you mean they're not going to take my 60 by
on their
40
head
back
where it like
on the L? No.
What will you do? What will you do if people want to buy large pieces and can't get?
I'll offer delivery. Yeah, and that happens a lot at those kind of shows, weekend shows, is that you assume that the people live nearby enough that, I mean, if they're going to buy like a $5,000 painting from me, I will drive it to their house the next day. So a lot of times you do that like at the end of the show or after the next day, you sort of make some deliveries if you can, or figure something out for sure. It's a little harder to do the thing where you sort of like let somebody take your work to decide on it. That's tricky, but I've done it before. Sometimes those neighborhood shows, people like, you just sort of have to trust the human, and if it feels like, it would make sense, then let them take it. But and then I think I'm going to try and make sure that my website is updated. So if there's any extra work that isn't at the show, they could look there. But you guys, that's a lot of details.
No,
it's really,
that's awesome.
Like shoving the last painting in the back of my car and like going, I'll hope to remember business cards.
Well, I'm excited for you.
Thanks.
Wish you lots of good connections and maybe some good sales.
Yeah, it's just so fun to be like in person with people that are engaging with your work. So just, I don't know how much time we have because I never watch the clock when we're doing this stuff. But Tamara, you had a gallery opening recently, and how did that go?
Oh, that's an online gallery that I've signed up with. I
Oh,
do have
okay.
something new coming up
Yes, you
that I
do.
haven't officially announced,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's a thing.
Okay.
And I've been working very hard to get 6 large pieces done for solo exhibition at a local brew pub,
Oh,
brewery. So we have
fun.
those in our
Yes.
town. There's like 6 of them, and one of them is owned by 6 women. They're trying to showcase women and emerging artists, and a couple of them are artists. One of them currently has her work up, and there's a bunch of confluence of events that led us to connect.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
she invited
Yeah.
me to have the space, and so the work's in progress. I've been working pretty hard on it because I needed to get a lot of things done before we go to Italy. Because when I come back, I'll look at things and I'll be like, I don't even know
What the
where my
heck?
head.
You have to get things like to a real pretty solid state. Otherwise, it's almost like starting from scratch when you
Yeah.
go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is for me.
I'm pretty much there, and I sat down and made a list of things like what you've talked about. You know, I need to have my website updated. I need my QR code. I need to order my moo cards. I want to have time to write personal notes on the back because they'll host an opening reception. So we'll hang, and then we'll have an opening reception for all their people. And this hits one of my really big rocks of this year, which was to become seen as an artist in my own community.
Oh, that's huge. That's wonderful.
It
Very
is.
cool.
Yeah. So there's lots of opportunity. The show will be up for about 3 months.
That's
And it coincides. They're a venue on a local art shuffle that I'm on the organizing committee for this year. And so I'll be the in-house artist the night of that event. And I'm right now thinking about ways to have like demonstrations. And
I was gonna say, would you do live painting? Like, would you consider that? Or
what I'm thinking of doing is the way that I've been working all these jelly bean shapes in the paintings is actually having a canvas up and inviting people as they're in for the night to add a shape and a color to the canvas. And I'll have a limited palette there, and they can choose. And I don't care what shape, I don't care what color. My thought would be to get a baseline, a starting point down on the painting, because it's only a 5-hour event, and then take it away, complete it. And I haven't even run this by my host yet, but my thought is to work with them and see if we can find a place to auction, like a cause that they're involved with as an auction piece down the road. So I'm kind of thinking of trying to engage community on the spot, but also give back.
Oh, I love all those ideas. That's fantastic.
So
That's
it's
fun.
all just kind of floating around right now, but
percolating. It's percolating.
Yeah. Exactly. One of the hard things with like all 3 of us with mixed media, like so much of my process is drying time that live painting is like, sorry guys, this is pretty boring.
Gonna be a
few
hours. Come back in a few hours.
And have like multiple pieces going.
Yeah.
Barbara,
that is an issue.
Oh gosh, I just submitted 2 pieces to a juried exhibition in a town not too far from here, waiting to hear back from them.
Cool.
If they don't make it in, I'm going to submit them to something else, which is in our local gallery in Burlington. It's the All Guilds show. So there's a few little shows coming up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start submitting pieces to some of these juried shows. I just had 2 pieces in Toronto for the last month, which was fun to have stuff out there. In the Perfect 10 show. So all the pieces were 10 by 10 inches. And you talk about a beautiful display. All the little 10 by 10 pieces, it's almost like mosaic tile, like really colorful to see all the pieces there. So just little things like that. Oh, and the Dundas Valley School of Art auction is coming up, and I've got 4 pieces in that. So
cool.
Doing my thing. Enjoying it.
So many opportunities for applying to shows once you start looking and tapping into that.
It's really true.
I got a list on my
calendar. Send me something. She'll send me something. Say, did you see this? I'm like, no. When's the deadline? It's for me keeping track of deadlines, right?
I just use sticky notes, Barb. I've got like all my little 3M Post-it notes, and I'll just have a list, and they're stuck up in front of my computer with my dates on them. So
that's a good idea.
I would love to submit to more things, but the things that have come like within this first quarter, I haven't known if I'd have enough inventory to send anything out. So,
Yes.
but summer
There's
and
that
fall,
too.
I'm going to aim towards that because I haven't been great about doing some
But
gallery.
it's
And then
also-
I'll
Yeah.
see shows and see friends that are like, I got this show, and I'm like, oh, I want to post some. I want to be in a show. Like it's been forever since I've submitted something.
But
yeah.
it's
Well, and it's that
true, you need a lot of work, right?
you need
Yeah.
the inventory.
To one show, what if they get in? But you've
Yeah,
also submitted
exactly. Right.
Well, and then a lot of the shows are themed,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yes.
have to,
Yeah.
you kind of do have to know, like the water theme show or
Yes.
whatever. And so you look around at what you've got and you're like, yeah, nothing that's
Right.
themed for that
Yeah, exactly.
for that show.
Nothing I could even word for that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although I will say sometimes you look at the shows afterwards that you decided not to apply for because you didn't think that your work was on the theme, and you look at what got accepted and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
If
That's
they can
Pretty
do that,
fast and loose
Water.
with that theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But well, yeah. So okay, we still got you.
Yeah,
What's the time limit for you guys these days
Oh,
for these
we're
recordings?
getting close.
Yeah.
Under an
Getting close,
hour. We
But,
thought
Okay.
it's just been nice and relaxing talking to you, Megan. I think it was
Oh,
Rena
good.
said, if this is you in a down period, like you're so on. So
Do you know, it's like that part of me that's an extrovert still, that's
Yeah.
like, I convince myself that I just want to be quiet. I don't want, I don't want to engage too much, or I don't want to stick my head out of the whatever. And then, but this is like feels like just a really good conversation with two friends. So
Yeah.
this is like perfect for me. So,
and
yeah.
sometimes, I find this with myself because I went through a bit of a hibernation stage too in the fall. My mom died in the fall, and I just didn't feel like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to create. I didn't want to be online. But every once in a while, a friend would say, just push yourself. Let's go do this. And it always made me feel better.
Yeah.
And it could be something tiny like this, like this kind of thing, or, go see a show.
Yeah.
Or,
Yep.
so I have to remember that too. I think we're all potential introverts. We kind of have to be.
Yeah.
Because when you paint.
Yeah, right. It like there's a part of what we do that really relies on us at least being able to sort of be just by ourselves for stretches of time. So yeah.
Yeah, and comfortable
true.
with that. Like, really comfortable just being and almost to the point where, it's like, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Don't you find that sometimes if I've been in the studio all day and doing my own thing, I come out and I don't really want to talk. My husband will ask me some
100%.
questions and I'll be like,
Yeah. I'm the
Or
same.
talk.
I
really
need to
am.
decompress. I need that drive home from work.
Yes,
to
'cause you
shift from
need
one
to,
mode to the other.
Yeah, that like re-entry. You're right. I
Yes,
feel that way a lot. It's
re-entry,
like
that's
you've had,
it.
yeah, you've been like in your own world
Yeah.
all day, and so then it's almost like somebody's trespassing.
It's
It's
funny.
talk to
In your
the
world,
system, right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, I know.
And then when it's the generic, how was your studio? How did things go in the studio today? You're like, I don't even know how to answer
I know.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There is no answer.
Or do you guys ever, I find myself, especially if I've had a day where there's been a lot of painting going on, like there's other, we all have different phases of our work or whatever, but when it's really like expressive painting, I'm like exhausted when I get home. Those are the nights we have eggs for dinner.
That's right. That's because
Yes.
who said that? That's because painting requires concentration, so you get tired. So talking is an effort. It's true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's for sure. And then I know that like when you're in the painting mode too, it's like there's so many other examples of how like that sort of, I don't know, creativity thinking is actually really exhausting. This is going to be a weird parallel, but they talk about this too. Like if you have a puppy or a dog and you want to make them tired, like you could run them for 2 miles. They won't be as tired as if you give them like training exercises to figure out with their brains for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Or like little kids when they have to like work, when they were like on the cusp of a new development thing, it's like exhausting. And so I think some of that same like energy happens when we're in like the real creative painting mode.
That's so funny that you said that. When my kids were little, we would put them in the snuggly or the backpack around Christmas and walk them around the neighborhood, and they would be zonked by looking at all the Christmas. There's something about all of the lights that would just like fry their brains, and they would fall asleep.
Like forcing stimulation overload on them. I love it.
I was going to say
and the
too.
fresh air.
Yes, the fresh air. But I was going to say, sometimes if I've been painting a long time, especially if I didn't plan it, and I'll kind of stumble out of my little nook after about 6 hours, I'll catch myself in the mirror and go, "You look insane. Like you look like a crazy lady. Like, like, you know, some paint here, my hair is going that way." And it's like, what happens in that little nook?
I know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, then I think about that because like my husband will be like, okay, I can stop for, you know, whatever for dinner on the way home. You want me to run to the grocery store or do you want to go? And the answer is always you, because
You go.
am not fit.
I'm not leaving.
Like,
Yeah.
I paint everywhere. It's like, I'll be like, there's paint like all up my arm and I don't notice it. And then, so I'm like, I'm not going to the store.
Maybe no pants on.
Right, yeah. Well, I have to leave the house to go to the studio, so I usually have pants on, but shoes maybe not. Yeah.
Not here, apparently.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I love those. That's like those little glimpses into people's studios when you get a picture, what people wear. I did a podcast and the interview always asked, like, what do you have like a uniform that you use when you're making or when you're in the studio or whatever? And I always love that question. It's fun.
That's a great question.
Right?
We gotta start asking that.
We do.
Yeah.
I love it when you see people take pictures of their work on the floor and you see the shoes or their socks. That always makes me laugh. Or Barb's toenails.
My toenails. My toenails get more attention than the art, so what can I say?
There you go. If they're good toenails, then there you go. Oh, that's funny. You don't want attention for bad toenails.
No.
That's true. Always got to have a pedicure.
I've got
I think we're at the 2:51 mark, Tamara. What do you say?
I'd say we had a great conversation.
Any last words? Any final words?
I don't know. Thanks for pulling me out of my hidey hole.
Well, thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
We're so glad. Give Erica a big hug when you see her.
Yes, absolutely. I need to write to her and make sure that we have some. I mean, I'm sure we'll both be tired each night, but I'm sure we can meet for a drink or something. Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
She's actually coming on to chat with us in May.
She is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is she our first? This is logistical. Is she our first one after your
yes
Italy trip?
So we're offline for the next 3 weeks. I'm only gone 2.5, but it just happens to be a third Tuesday.
That's okay.
Yep. So we are back on the 2nd of May. We have guests, and then we have another guest the week after, which we're not
even talk about it
yet. But it's exciting.
I feel like we've all of us could probably guess.
You're gonna guess. Barb's gonna drop a hint soon.
I'm gonna drop a hint. I'm gonna drop a save the date post on Instagram, and the hint is going to be the backdrop of the post. But I can't say anymore. But it's so exciting.
Wow!
Almost as excited as talking to
you guys. Whoever it ends up being, congratulations! If it makes you this excited, that's a big win.
Almost as excited as talking to you.
Oh,
so there you go.
Almost, but not quite as exciting as talking to you.
That's too. I don't believe it. But.
And then we also need another save the date for the 30th of May because that's our next no brush required reads. So our next book club, and we decided we're going to read Rick Rubin's The Creative Act, which a lot of people were reading already. So that's good. You don't have to start something new if you've been reading it. If you haven't, you've got like 7 weeks. And I don't think it's going to take that long.
No.
Yep, everybody should read it. I probably won't because I'm a girl that always shows up to book club having not read the book. But
that was always
okay.
me. That was always me.
You could always listen to a podcast. Nick Wilton, I think he was on the CVP podcast.
He's been doing the. Really? So that's cool. Yeah, he's been on the circuit. Like he's done Smartless and like Jack Shepherd, all the guys. Yeah,
he did Smartless.
Did he?
This guy did Smartless.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Armchair Experts.
He definitely did Armchair Experts, and there's a couple other ones that I've heard too. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, so you can always Google, and maybe we'll put some podcast links up too before that date.
Idea.
Because
Yeah, that's
it's
a
kind
good idea.
of, it's interesting. I've listened to several of them, and when you listen to somebody who's on the circuit, some of the things they say are the same, but every single interview brings out something different. And so
Yeah,
I always find that
sure.
kind of interesting, the things that the host connects
Right.
with. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. All right, so you're gonna have Rick Rubin on. Is that what
no,
we're saying?
what?
That's the
Listen,
big announcement. No,
we aren't shy now about asking
good. You
people.
shouldn't be.
We aren't. Silly us
Absolutely.
or optimistic
no,
us. I don't
what's the
know.
Oh,
worst thing
Hopeful
can happen?
us.
exactly.
They can
It's so
ignore
fun.
us and we'll never know, right? Like we've been ignored.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Funny. Oh, yeah.
Not naming names.
No, we're not. And they're
Well,
not in our
not
audience
by,
today.
yeah,
Well, good
not by
luck,
me, and not
Megan,
by
with the One of
everybody
a
who's
Kind
watching.
show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Make sure you do get somebody else to post for you that
Yeah.
weekend, because you probably won't be on Instagram, because I'd love to be able to see
Oh, for
Yeah,
what's
sure.
going on.
feature
That's
post.
the other
I'll
thing.
still
Photographer.
post. Yeah, that's true. I'll still post for sure. I
And
think
go
that's
live.
fun.
You could go
Yeah,
live
yeah,
and
yeah.
say hi
Yeah, for sure.
several
Yeah,
times.
absolutely.
I think you'll have fun. I think you're going to have a lot of fun.
Oh,
I
I
just
know
have
I'm gonna have a
bias.
blast. Yeah, and I have good techniques even for the slow periods. So you know, you just I like it's just fun being around people, all the
Yes,
other
it
makers.
is.
So
Yep.
good. All right.
Surrounded by
Happy
creativity.
travels, lady.
Oh yeah.
All right, we will see you and talk to you soon. Thanks so much for being here today.
Bye.
So we'll see
Bye.
everybody in May. We'll see everybody in May.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
right. Ciao.
Bye April.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See ya.
Bye,
Happy
you
rest
guys.
of the week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.